Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gaming with Ben Marco. Before we get started, I'm throwing up a warning here, that this game is rated M for people 18 or older, and is quite violent and bloody. So if that makes you squeamish, please turn it off now. I don't want to offend anyone. Second warning is that this game is very, very fast-paced, so I may become hard to understand at times. But if I catch myself doing that, I'll try to slow down and say it again so everyone can understand it. Anyway, on to the show. Today's game is actually a brand new one, relatively. It came out on May 13th, and the game in question is Doom. Yes, that Doom. The granddaddy of first-person shooters from 1993 is back, and it is angry. This game is a full-on throwback to the old-school style of first-person shooters. No regenerating health, no background conspiracy stories, no chest-high walls to hide behind, and no NPCs to open the door for you while talking exposition into your face. It's just you, some guns, some health packs, and a whole lot of very, very angry demons. So, let's get started. Alright, first, right off the bat, I have to talk about is the most important aspect of this game, which is the combat, which I am glad to say is quite good. It's very fun and extremely fast-paced. You cannot slow down for very long periods of time if there are enemies around, since they will kill you if you are not careful. You are not some super ridiculous, super durable guy wearing 50 tons of armor and regenerating health. I mean, you can upgrade your health and armor throughout the game, which will help, but ultimately, your best defense isn't your armor, it's just to not stop moving. Since the enemies, especially at the higher, later points in the game, can kill you quite quickly and brutally. So, yeah, stay moving and have fun with that. The second part of the combat that I want to talk about is the guns, for what is a first-person shooter without guns. And I am quite pleased to say that every single gun in the game, minus the dinky little starting pistol here, which by the way has unlimited ammo, so, you know, even if you run out of ammo for all the other guns, you still have a way of fighting, is extremely fun to use. There isn't a single gun that I don't enjoy pulling out from time to time. What you see me using here is, well, the basic shotgun. You get it very early into the game, within the first level, shortly after you get the starter pistol, and it will see you through the entire game. I still use it regularly, it's a very good gun, and it has a great amount of impact and a lot of fun. Another gun you get early on is this one, which is the heavy assault rifle. It is also quite effective. You get it, I believe, the second level, so you get it pretty early on too, and it's a decent ranged counterpart to the shotgun. Those are just two of the weapon examples that you're going to get in the game, but those are two of the early ones, so I figured I'd show them off together, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them. Alright, next up, of course, is, if this is an old-school shooter, that's a chainsaw, is what about one of the things that old-school shooters had that a lot of modern shooters don't, which is namely the exploration. Back in the old day, a lot of shooters, you actually could go off the beaten path. It wasn't just a single corridor for you to explore. There were secrets you could find, tower-ups to obtain, a whole bunch of extra stuff if you were willing to poke around. You could get several weapons early. For example, this one, the Super Shotty, which I'm sure a lot of old Doom fans will recognize, is actually, I found mine a level before I was supposed to, because I went off the beaten path and poked around and looked for it, and I got it early, and I'm very happy with it. Please die now. So, the game itself is very fast-paced, but in between the combat, if you're willing to poke around and explore, I would more than recommend doing so, because there's a whole bunch of extra goodies you can find if you're willing to look. Anyway, oh, hi there. I'm gonna show you the chainsaw now. That's not the chainsaw, that's the BFG. So, oops. Wrong gun. Anyway, as much as I like this game, now, of course, I have to talk about the downsides. First off is that the pace of the game is, as I have repeated already, very, very fast. Some people may not be able to keep up with it, which is fine. Some people just aren't suited for fast-paced gaming, which, again, there's no harm in that. Chainsaw. If you kill an enemy with a chainsaw, by the way, it drops a crap ton of extra ammo for you to play with. But yeah, no, just some people can't keep up with it, and that's fine. If you are one of those people, I would recommend trying it at a friend's house or a demo if you can manage to get your hands on one to see if you can keep pace with it. If you can and you like it, yay, go for it. The game's great. The other downside is actually the multiplayer. While it was in the game from the start, and, you know, it was actually an advertised part of the game, it overall actually still feels like it was just kind of tacked on. I mean, it works, it's playable, and it is fun to a degree, if you're into that sort of thing. but I would say it still far pales in comparison to the single-player mode of the game, which is what you see me playing here. It's just more fun, it's more fast-paced, and it just doesn't, the multiplayer just does not feel as solid as the single-player does, by a large margin. You don't have access to all the guns. You can only carry 2 guns at a time in pretty much every single modern-day shooter, which is fun as opposed to every gun at once, but I suppose that would be a bit unbalanced. And you can't have all the upgrades that you get in the single-player that you get for the guns, so you're missing out on a lot of the tools you would normally have access to, which is a shame, since, again, a lot of these guns are really, really fun to use. Anyway, now the question is it worth it? It is a brand new game at $60, so it is a tad bit on the pricier side. But it is an awesome game for $60. The single player is great and does not slow down unless you want to, go off the beaten path and explore, which I would, again, recommend doing because tons of upgrades, tons of fun stuff to find. And the multiplayer is okay, since, as I said before, it works, but it doesn't feel as solid or finished as the single player does. Maybe work on that a little bit. So sorry about that. Lost my train of thought for a minute. So, would I overall recommend it? Yes. There's plenty to explore to do in the game, even though they are, just single focused levels. You don't lose guns in between levels. There's still plenty to explore of the levels, and to do so. Even if you've completed the main objective for the stage and haven't got to the exit yet, there's still plenty for you to find if you want to poke around and explore. So I would highly recommend doing that if you do get the game. So overall, would I recommend it? Yes, easily. This is a true blue, old-school first-person shooter. Back to the glory days when they weren't just above that. Overall, just corridor shooters going for you to go from one location to another over and over and over again while just letting the NPCs do all the work. This is how, in my opinion, a first-person shooter should be. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. If you have a comment or suggestion, just email me at bengamer24@gmail.com. This has been On Air with Ben Marco. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you all next time.